great to have you here. This is a part of the disability workshops here on SkillCamp. This is our screenwriting one on ScriptCamp. And yeah, like I say, it's good to have you. As a reminder, this is a bit about, why we're here and what we do. We welcome all people, whether you have a disability or not, and we want to help you write better disabled characters. Like I say, this is a disability in screenwriting, so we have an emphasis on the screenwriting, so we will read screenplays and scripts, and it's every other Saturday at the same time, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British time. And we'll look at your characters in your story. If there are any disabled people who want to share an experience relevant to a disabled character, then you're more than welcome to share that to try and make that character a bit more realistic or a bit more 3D, as I always say. We might be creating characters from prompts, a bit like the picture prompt that we have here on the server, and reviewing disabled characters in existing TV and film, and occasionally perform sensitivity readings. Now, there's a reason that these two workshops exist, and that is because disabilities are among the most misrepresented and misunderstood minorities in the media, which time and time again have led to discrimination and really harmful stereotypes. And so we want to help combat that, and I can give you so many examples where, the media has literally harmed disabled people in real life for whatever reason, in whatever way. It's important to remember that people of any age, gender, religion, race, or socioeconomic background can be disabled. I think I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, someone said, Hollywood taught me that black disabled people don't exist. And that's a good point. I can't think of a single black disabled person in the media. I'm trying to think if I can think of even one. I literally cannot think of one. Hopefully I am wrong, and there's at least one disabled person somewhere. Yeah. Of course, this is a safe space, and so we want to make sure that everyone is respected, and that means that we won't tolerate insults. All questions are welcome. It can be a bit difficult for us to, sort of say which questions are and aren't allowed, because sometimes, it can get very personal with questions, and some people might take offense. I think the way that we, as the moderators, will, judge whether a question is useful is by what the intent behind it is, and the the context and that sort of thing, and how it's asked. We'll look at all of those things when when saying if that's how we'll decide if a question is inappropriate or not, basically. But yeah, we welcome questions because that's how people learn. If you want your script read, you must be given helpful feedback, either in the workshop or on the server as a whole. Again, that's sort of difficult for us to moderate, and so the general rule is sort of the three leaders here are all on the we're all moderators, and so we see people who aren't contributing to the server. We point it out to each other, so we have a good idea of who's helping each other and who isn't. And so do be trying to give helpful feedback. If you're new to giving feedback, of course, I'm not going to be excellent at it. But as long as you're, genuinely trying, then yeah, you are welcome to ask for feedback from other people. And again, remembering that we are all here to learn and improve. So being patient with each other, and again, being respectful. Now, for the purposes of this workshop, there are 5 types of disabilities. I know that in America, generally they only say that it's physically disabled people who are disabled. That's not true here. There are 5 types, as you see here: physical, intellectual, hidden disabilities, mental health, and sensory. And basically, that is meant to be all encompassing. Covering every type of possible disability. And again, even if you're not disabled, you are more than welcome here.
Sorry, Joel, are you presenting something? Because I'm not, like, where do I go to see it? Sorry, don't mean to
Yeah, so
interrupt, but
you're in the Disability Workshop voice channel.
yeah.
Yeah, so there should be a button that says Watch Stream.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Alright.
Okay,
Oopsie.
sorry about that.
No
Yeah.
worries. As I was saying earlier, we are part of 2 workshops, which again alternate between our 2 servers, ScriptCamp and WordCamp. So we have a disability in fiction at the same time next week, where we look at all types of media, including screenplays, but we'll try and, if we can, prioritize that to this workshop. Disability in fiction sort of prioritizes novels, but we might also look at comics, or any type of fiction media that contains disability. So yeah, this is disability in screenwriting. If anyone has anything they want looked at, feel free to send it in disability chat. Not disability, yeah, disability chat.
Okay.
And likewise, if you have any questions, I've got a question already.
Uh, I had a question, or um, sorry, I didn't have my hand up though. This
That's
is
right.
new.
I'll look at Jason's first, that he's posted here, and then we'll come back to you. Jason said, I had one question. I was curious about your thoughts on where disability versus differently abled. I have a friend with a uh, degenerative disorder who really dislikes the word differently abled. He thinks the term is a bit infantilizing because he is disabled. His medical condition makes his life more difficult, and he feels the term does not acknowledge that. Anyone with any thoughts on that
Hmm.
before I answer?
I,
Give my thoughts.
well, the thoughts I have on it, I think it may depend on what the person's situation is. Like when I think about differently abled people, I think of people like Temple Grandin, like who's very famous autistic person, and I kind of hesitate to think like she's wired differently, than other people, and but she's like a genius inventor, and so when I think of differently abled, and the way she, like, I've heard some of her TED talks, and she talks about having different wiring in her brain, and I think in that sense, like it's helpful to not always think of everything, as a disability, because like in cases of autism, it actually opens doors for people. Like that's my own feeling, but I think like where there are challenges, like definitely acknowledging that someone's at a disadvantage because of physical or other limitations. So it's not easy, you know. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah, so I guess obviously everyone is different, and so different people will have different different opinions, and yeah, everyone's disability is different as well. Even 2 people with the same disability will experience that very, very differently. So I think that's something important to remember as well. But yeah, as you say, I think differently abled has different connotations of different disabilities. So I think, as you sort of touched on, if you say differently abled, you may not think of someone who's paralyzed, for example. I think some people might like the term differently abled. I know the one that most people use is disabled. And I guess, I don't know. I was going to say disability is an umbrella term, but I'm not sure it is. But yeah, I personally would use disabled. Um, and I know that most people would too. But different people will use different terms to describe themselves, you know. Does anyone else have any thoughts about that? And again, if people are able to unmute, that's helpful. Just so that we so that I'm not having to read everything. I follow a bunch of this is from Willow. I follow a bunch of disabled content creators on YouTube. Haven't found a single one who likes the term. Yeah, so I think the people who like the term differently abled are in the minority there. And weirdly, it seems to me that it's only able-bodied people who like the term differently abled, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, I saw a petition recently on the government website here in the UK that said, change all government language that says disabled to uh, differently able. It wasn't differently abled, it was something else. It was something even worse, something I've never heard of before. Um, I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't think what it was now. But there was a petition, and it probably was a. I don't know who it was, but I would imagine it was a able-bodied person. And yeah, it seems like, for whatever reason, the term disabled really offends white middle-aged women. Um, but yeah, some people, yeah, different people use different terms. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to keep it non-biased. I'm not sure if you can tell. Um, Um, yeah. Any other thoughts on that before we move on to Luke?
I just had a technical question, Joel. I mean, I wanted to submit part of one of my screenplays, like to get feedback. Um, so do I just post the PDF to the chat or?
Yeah. So you can put it either in disability chat or in the inbuilt chat in the voice channel. Either one is up to you. Just let us know when you've posted it. While we wait for that, there was a trailer. So was it last week? I believe so. There was an event at the BFI, which stands for British Film Institute, and they sort of give out funds to support short films and lots of film funding and stuff, here in Britain, and had an event sort of about their disability network, and how they're changing things in the industry. Sort of doing what we're doing here, but of course screenwriting and filmmaking. So there's a trailer that we'll show a little bit later about one of those short films that we saw. Or not a trailer, but yeah, the maker of that. Did you get that? Did you get that posted, or do you need any help with that?
Yeah, I think I posted it. I uploaded the PDF. Can everyone
Where is
see
in which channel?
it in the disability workshop chat?
It's not here.
No?
Just
Okay,
press
because it was
enter,
right
maybe.
under. Yeah.
I don't think you sent it. Is it under Willow's comment?
Yeah.
You might just need to press enter just to send it.
Okay, hold on a sec.
There we go.
Ah,
Now we got it.
okay.
Cool.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
So no worries. Right.
So this is only part of the script. I would have to explain the setup of it. Well, I guess actually, I like there is like I'm not sure if it really needs that much setup. The part of the script that's missing, so this is a character who's had a life-altering injury and she suffers from PTSD. And so the part that I haven't included is this dream sequence that she has before waking up, basically.
Okay.
And it's not I don't think it's really relevant to, like I think the part that I wanted feedback on is really like this, the what I've sent, what I've attached.
Alright then. Let us we'll take a look at it in just a second. Can
Sure.
I just ask, is this a short? Is it what format is
Yes.
this? It's a
Yeah,
short.
it would be a short film, yes.
Okay.
About
Alright then.
20 minutes or so. I think it's got 20 pages, so that should be about 20 minutes.
Okay. Cool. Let's take a look at it then. So I'm trying to find the right button to press so that you can see it. I will be screen sharing that now. Hopefully you can see that okay. How many parts do we have? 1, 2, 3. And looks like we just have 3. Alright, and direction. So, anyone want to read just on me and I will give you a part?
You want me to read something, Joel, from it, or
Oh no, I think we'll do like what we do at table reads and just let you
okay,
listen just because it
yeah.
helps you to understand it a bit better.
What do you need to be read?
It's on the stream. It's a bit like table reads, we'll just get
No,
some parts.
I opened up the PDF. I mean, which part do you mean?
Oh, any of them. You can choose whichever you want. I will give you Susan Storm.
Okay.
Winner, would you like a part?
Sure.
I will give you Eshtana then.
Okay.
And do we have just need a couple more roles? Dan, you feeling like reading today?
Sure.
In that case, I will give you Raksha. Alright then.
Sure it is. Oh, Raksha. Sorry. That's right.
Yeah. Alright. So, how many pages is this? 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll read and maybe we'll read all of it we'll see what happens. Alright, here we go. The camera cuts to an extreme close-up of her right eye as it opens. Interior, Ashana's bedroom, morning. The camera is still focused briefly on Ashana's right eye, and then cuts to an overhead shot of her lying in her bed. She throws up her bed sheets and reaches down in a panic to feel around the empty space below her thighs. She sighs in despair as she confirms that her legs are still missing. She closes her eyes and begins sobbing quietly. After about a minute, she regains her composure by taking a couple of deep breaths. Using her arms, she lifts herself into a seated position and moves herself into the right edge of the bed. She then gently hoists herself into a wheelchair that was placed beside the bed. Grabbing a bottle of painkillers on her bedside table and placing it on her lap, Ashana wheels herself over to the TV on the other side of the room. She picks up the remote control from the TV stand and clicks the power button while pointing at the monitor. Cut to Susan Storm, a reporter from a Cable 19 news channel, appears on screen. She is standing in front of a food bank named Mercy Street Mission.
The criminal trial of John Campbell is scheduled to begin on June 19th, marking the second anniversary of the Mercy Street truck attack. Campbell has been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 13 counts of attempted murder in connection with the attack.
Cut 2. Ashana places the remote back on the stand, grabs an empty plastic cup and tosses it back into her lap. She wheels herself down the hall and disappears into the bathroom. Cut 2. The camera focuses on Susan Storm on the TV monitor. She's standing outside in front of the Mercy Street Mission.
Charges of terrorism have also been filed in what prosecutors have described as a targeted attack against Muslims. Campbell drove his pickup truck into a crowd of pedestrians attending a food distribution event sponsored by the Mercy Street Mission.
The sound of water pouring can be heard down the hall, and Susan Storm continues.
3 volunteers died at the scene after Campbell's truck crashed into the food counter. 24-year-old Ishana Patel and her fiancé Latif Fadel were pinned under Campbell's truck for over 2 hours before rescue workers could free them. Fadel was pronounced at the scene. Fadel was rushed to a trauma center and required amputation of both legs. She has since been released from the hospital and continues to recover from her injuries at home.
Interior, Ashana's bathroom, morning. Ashana places a plastic cup on the bottle of vanity. She struggles to open a bottle of painkillers.
Most of Campbell's victims suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries and have since made full recoveries.
Oh, I think. Sorry, that should be action. Yeah, it got stuck. Sorry about
Alright.
that.
Ashana pops a couple of pills in her mouth and washes them down the mouth with the water.
The attack also claimed the life of 27-year-old Abdul Quran, who had recently immigrated from Afghanistan to complete a degree in electrical engineering. He is survived by his wife and 2 young children.
Ashana looks at the reflection of her stump in the bathroom mirror. Her shoulders slump down and she holds her left hand to her mouth and begins sobbing. After a few seconds, she straightens up her back, wipes the tears from her face, and stares directly into the eyes of her own reflection.
It's okay. You got this. You can do this. Come on. Chin up now.
Ashana picks up a face cloth hanging beside the sink, places it under the faucet, and dampens it with some warm water before using it to wash her face.
If convicted, Campbell could face up to 7 consecutive life sentences without a chance of parole. Campbell's attorneys have entered a plea of mental incapacity on all accounts, citing PTSD and a sharp decline in his mental health following the death of his wife and his son Wyatt in 2020.
There's a knock at the front door.
Hey, I'm coming. Give me a minute, okay?
On a more positive note, Cable 10 News has just learned that Ishana Patel will be returning back to the mission for the first time since the attack that claimed the life of her fiancé and her legs less than 1 year ago. Family members report that Patel is looking Oh, I keep misreading that. That's a P. Fidel is looking forward to getting back to work and will be answering questions following a brief statement this afternoon.
Cut 2. Interior, Ashana's hallway, morning. Ashana wheels herself out into the hallway, and towards the front door. She latches a lock on the front door.
It's open.
Okay.
Ashana wheels herself into the living room as the front door opens. Interior, Ashana's living room, morning. Ashana's mum, Rashka, enters the living room. She is carrying coffee and danishes in a bag. Ashana is sitting by the living room window in her wheelchair.
Hey, love, are you ready to go? Deshauna, not yet. Just got up.
I think that's Ashana's
Yeah, sorry again. When I transferred it over, that
Thought
should
it
be a
was over.
separate dialogue. That's Ashana. Sorry.
Okay. Not yet. I just got up. I still need to get dressed.
Ashana wheels herself into the living room as the front door opens. Interior, Ashana's living room, morning. Ashana's mum, Rashka, enters the living room. She is carrying coffee and danishes in a... oh, that's been duplicated. Okay.
Did I double that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
So go from Rashka. I got us some coffee.
Got us some coffee and pastries for breakfast. Got your favorites.
Rashka shakes the bag as she is talking. She pulls out a Danish, wraps it in a napkin and places it on a small coffee table next to Ashana's wheelchair, along with a cup of coffee.
This
Thanks,
is
Mom.
Oh, so how are you feeling?
Okay, I guess. The usual aches and pains. My new normal, I suppose.
Rashka
This is
places her cups of coffee on the table and sits down on the couch, facing her daughter. She places another Danish out of the bag and takes a small bite.
You nervous?
Yeah.
I still don't know why you can't take it easy, especially now. You're barely out of the hospital and you're already going back to that place. Isn't a crime to stay home and let your body heal you.
I know you're worried, but I'm okay. Really. I can handle this. It's something I need to do.
But why? Why do you need help to help these people? Why invite this trouble in your life? Just let them be. What do you care?
Because they are good people who have been hurt just like us. What kind of person would I be if I turned around and abandoned them?
But don't you have enough on your plate to worry about? Let someone else take care of it. Why does it have to be you? You've been hurt. Haven't you been hurt?
You have no idea how much it hurts. Every moment I stay here in this house is a reminder of everything I lost, and it terrifies me to go back out there. I don't know if I'm ever going to feel safe again.
My point exactly. So why go then?
Because if I can't face my fear now, when will I ever be able to face it? Do you think I want people to see me like this? It's not like my body will ever be whole again. My legs are gone, and nothing will ever change about that. So I am just supposed to stay here and feel sorry for myself forever?
Of course not. But can't you find something safer?
Safer than handing out food to the poor and the hungry?
Well, you know that he isn't the only bad person out there. The economy's so bad, and this just brings out the worst in people. Why risk being exposed to more violence? Can you at least wait until things calm down a bit?
Ashana turns her face towards the window and stares blankly into the street outside.
Do you know that I dream about the attack every night? I remember the pain. the smell of oil and burned rubber. Mr. Campbell comes for us, you know. All of us. Judging, spewing hatred and blame. He tricks us into turning on each other. I watch as he pulls everyone I care about into the darkness, one by one, until I'm the only one left.
Ashana snaps out of her trance and turns to face her mother.
At the end of it all, the only crime will be us At the end of it all, the only crime any of us is guilty of is sitting back and waiting. We for the right Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm struggling. We wait for the right moment to act, to stand up for each other. But that moment never comes. We comfort ourselves in the belief that the storm will eventually pass, but it only grows. With every kind of act, we withhold from each other until one day the morning sky breaks and we wake up to a world we don't even recognize. That's why I'm done waiting. Now is my time to act. I'm taking responsibility for my own happiness. I will create the kindness that I want to see in my world. I can't wait until I'm more able or less afraid. I can't depend on someone else to do it for me. Do you get what I mean?
Rashka leans in to caress Ashana's hand. She looks lovingly into Ashana's eyes and says,
Yes, I get it. And you know I am always here for you. Even when you are stubborn that you drive me crazy. I raised such a brave and kind young daughter.
I had a good role model. I love you, Mama.
Ashana smiles as she turns to face the window again. The camera fades to white.
I love you too.
Fade out. Thanks for sharing, Luke. Yeah, that was good. Let's get some feedback. I am gonna go up the list. Willow, can I start with you? Any feedback for Luke?
Sure. So I liked it. I like the premise of it, and it is absolutely fascinating. And oh, I'm sorry, just trying to get my words together. I think the one part that I had issue with is the beginning, that it's very expositional. We hear a lot from the newscaster, and I think it was okay until you went into specifics about Ashana and the newscaster talking specifically about Ashana. So I think cut that down to one little thing, and it can feel very I don't know what the word is. It's kind of interesting that this is the only thing we see on TV. That if Ashana is watching TV, she just happened to turn it on at this exact moment that this exact thing is going on, but she doesn't pay attention to the rest of the news, or she isn't flipping channels to watch something else. It's just happens to be on. So it feels a bit unnatural.
Can I just say, so a lot of it's a lot of it's actually like the camera's following her as she's getting ready in the morning, And so so what's just to orient you on so a lot of it's like with the TV being heard in the other room, and she's kind of just washing her face and getting ready in the bathroom. So
Yeah,
I
that's what I got, and that's what
okay.
I kind of figured. Yes, that part came fairly clear.
Oh, okay.
It's just it's unrealistic that she turned it on at the time of the newscasting, and she didn't watch anything afterward. Is it still? I don't remember her turning the TV off. So is it still going on in the background? Um, and I we didn't see her reacting to the news. So it felt like it's two completely separate things. I do the same thing as her. I have to have some kind of noise in the background, and typically it's music or something like that. And I'm still reacting to the music while I'm off doing other things. So some kind of interaction there, or find another way to exposit about this. Do we need to know right at this time
Hmm.
how she lost her legs? Do we need to know uh about what was it, her boyfriend? Um which, by the way, Fidel and Patel, they sound orally a lot alike.
Wait,
Mm.
so I did read Fidel.
There
Yeah, they're
was?
Okay.
two different names.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
two different people, Fidel and Patel. But
Yeah, I
audibly
could change
they
the
sound
last name. Yeah.
I guess regarding the disability representation, which I think is specifically what you came here for.
Yes.
Um, I didn't notice anything bad, anything negative. It is leaning toward the uh disabled people need to overcome or need to be active or need to like she is perpetuating her own ableism. It looks like I need to be out there. I can't take time for me, and
Mm.
I don't know whether that's a. It depends on how the rest of the story goes. If
Mm.
the story is showing her why that's a bad thing, that she doesn't have to be out there, she doesn't have to push through it. Just like her mother says, and she's ignoring her mother's advice, and that is to be portrayed as a bad thing. Then I
Mm.
would say um, that its inclusion is good. If it is, um, uh, if it is portrayed as going back out there and I guess as a positive of the ableism being a positive, that a person with a disability is only worth something if they can do something for somebody else,
Hmm.
kind of thing. So it depends on the rest of the story as to how that goes. But I love the story. I enjoy the characters, and I'd love to see more.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Willow. Yeah, anyone else got some comments, particularly focused
me,
on representation in disability?
me.
Yeah, go ahead, Rosanna.
Okay. So for me, there was one comment that struck. Okay, wait, I gotta preface this by saying I really enjoyed the character, and I like that her PTSD isn't all about just having a disability. It's about the man who hurt her. In any case, I thought that one comment struck me as weird, and it is like something relating to what Willow said in the internalized ableism, in which she's commenting about how she'll never be whole again, and it's just sort of like, it struck me as odd. It struck me as, is Shauna like having this moment where she's just like, this disability is going to ruin my life sort of deal. And so it feels kind of like, is this a mindset she's going to overcome? Is what I'm like looking forward to, just a mindset where she just accepts how she is now sort of deal, and it's just sort of like okay with it instead of just pushing back against it and being like, and like crying over it at every term. It's anyway, I know like she's got PTSD though, so it's like I understand the pushback against it, so I'm not too hung up on that sort of part, because it's like, this is a traumatic thing that happened to her. This happened to her in a horrible way. The disability itself is not a horrible thing, though. It's just how it happened and why it happened. That is the horrible part to me. There was also this one part. Huh?
That was my intention, was it's the how and the why it happened that's the horrible thing. And the intention is for her to go back, like to not withdraw from society is really like the idea, because you know the tendency when bad things happen is people have a tendency of withdrawing, and it's this particular screenplay is about people coming together and not going off and dividing into, you know, like separate camps. You know, like when, because like one of the things that people tend to do when they get afraid, they hide from each other. And so this is what her desire to go out is to just be you know, like be a part of her society. It's not really you know, so much to overcome the disability. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's really so that like she doesn't let her fear of being, you know, like she's been horribly injured, and there's this there's this big push to just, you know, stay withdrawn, and that's kind of what I was reaching for. Does that make more sense?
I think it makes sense. And there's also this part that I found a little odd, which is her speech at the end. I don't think anyone would have a very succinct, like detailed, prepared speech for their situation like that unless they wrote it down, or something. So that struck me as a little like out of place. Yeah, unnatural. But other than that, I do really like your story. I guess how many pages is the short going to be?
So it's about 20 pages in total.
Okay, then I was wondering if maybe to show it more that she has to overcome her fear of going out. We should show her fear of going out instead of her immediately making the decision, I have to get back out there, you know?
This
I'm
is
just
the
wondering.
beginning of the like. This is going by
This is
page
the end.
numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like the beginning is just a dream sequence, right?
Well, the beginning of this isn't the beginning of the script. The beginning
Yeah,
of
I mean,
this is halfway
like,
through.
yeah, I know the beginning of the script itself is a dream sequence, and this is like immediately after it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I was wondering if you could push her realization that she needs to go out a bit later, but I guess this is already like.
Sorry about that. Hold on.
That's okay.
I'm getting a spam robocaller. Oh, Lordy.
Oh, wait a minute. This is like this is like page 19. You're almost done.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's the end of the script. That's why it's really her reaction to. So the dream sequence
Okay,
kind of
so
sets everything up.
okay, so majority of the script is a dream sequence.
Yes.
All right,
Okay,
I can
so
see
we
that
don't see
working.
any other character growth after this. Which is sort
Yeah.
of the
That's the end of the. Yeah. It's basically it's showing her resolve to not. It's actually what I'm trying to portray in this is her resolve to not let what happened stop her from living her life. That's really what the intention of this sequence is that she's resolved to live her life. It's not like I find it's interesting that it looks like she's trying to push through um uh yeah it wasn't really so much a question of overcoming the disability as in my mind it was like that she doesn't want to stop being the person she is, or like she isn't gonna let her fear control her, because like really what this screenplay is all about is, are you gonna let yourself be controlled by a fear, or are you going to let compassion lead the decisions that you make moving forward. So it's really that's really what the dichotomy is.
And I guess especially at the end, I do find if this is like after her realization, then I do find that I'm never going to be whole again comment to be a little off.
Yeah, strong.
base.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that okay, yeah.
And I hope that in her dream she takes control of her dream or something, because then that'll really show that, yeah, her mindset is changing. She's taking control of the situation. Maybe she punches the guy in the face in her dream. I don't know.
Not quite. But yeah.
But yeah, that's my feedback. Your script, good. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Lasagna. I appreciate it.
No problem.
thank you. Alright. Anyone else got feedback for Newt?
Does if anybody else has feedback, I'll let them go first since I already had a turn. But now, with better understanding, I have more to say. Does
Okay.
anybody else first? All right, so now understanding that this is the end of it, I understand where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish. I get it now. I think there are some ways that you could do it to make this work, because I like the theme of it, the encouragingness, the getting back out there. I like that part. But I think what we need to see in the meantime are two things. I need to see why, like maybe she tries to go out, but there's a problem. There's she wants to go. She wants to push herself to get out, but she can't enough to fit. She's not strong enough to move her own wheelchair or something, and she can't get over the lip, or she gets stuck on the sidewalk or something. And so
Wow.
I want to see, like, I'd like to see some kind of how she struggles to get out and how something might be holding her back, or the reason why she would prefer to stay in this safe place. And I'd kind of prefer, rather than, well, I'm just going to go back to the place I was and serve
It's like a
like,
food
like
bank.
the food bank,
Yeah.
like the food bank, and serve to the poor. Rather than that being her end goal, or no, let me hold it back. That is her end goal. That is what she wants, or that is what she needs.
Mm.
But she can't quite get there. And so I'd like to see her pushing herself beyond her comfort zone, taking steps to get to that dream. That like perhaps the first time she tries, she goes out and she realizes someone's staring at her, and she goes back to her house and hides.
Mm.
And another time she tries to go out and there's someone staring at her, and she hears snickering behind her. Could it be about her? Could it not be? And she gets stuck on the door jamb, and hears the snickering and runs and hides again. Something, I don't know, perhaps something like that, where we see what she is struggling against, and we see her taking steps to overcome those issues, to so like part of it might be learning how to maneuver her wheelchair over a door jamb.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because that was one of my questions I wanted to ask to the group, because in my mind, I wanted to set her in a place that wasn't actually, because this is something that recently happened, right? Like, she's back home after being in the hospital, right? And like, she's not necessarily in a place that's been prepared, right? She, like, for wheelchair access. So I thought that maybe having this element where, like, the hallways are too narrow, and how does she actually maneuver to get into the bathroom? Like, these were some of the issues that I actually had, because I even have a possible setting where really the hallways are too narrow for wheelchair access, and I'm wondering, like, how somebody would get around that if, like, say they are just coming home after something horrible like this, where like not everything's like things are still in flux. If that does that make sense? Or and how would somebody deal with this? Like, I was kind of at a loss to think about. Like, I thought that this would be a real issue for somebody who like had a dramatic life altering injury, like, and something that isn't often dealt with, like, where suddenly they're in their house, but everything's different and they're like in a foreign world. Uh, like, is there anything like that I could show, for example, where there is this struggle to accommodate the, like, before she moves to a different location, or has to renovate her place?
I can't speak, I'm not in a wheelchair, but my grandfather, he owned his house for like 30 years, and during the last year of his life, he was in a wheelchair, and he couldn't go down the hallway to his bedroom, and so we basically turned the living room into his bedroom. And we built a roll-in bathroom. We turned the pantry into a roll-in bathroom. So this is a really, really, really very real thing.
Yeah.
Wheelchairs
Yeah.
do not go down certain hallways, and that doesn't change. Others may have more comment than me because I've never personally done it, but we did experience it with my grandfather, and he never went to his bedroom again.
Yeah.
He had to live in the living room.
Yeah, and actually, ending up in the living room, it changes the house in a way, because you think about what a living room is to a house, and if you have guests around, you invite them into the living room, and you have family around, or so if just little things like at Christmas, you'd gather the whole family into the living room with a Christmas tree and all the presents, and you can't do that anymore because that's now someone's bedroom. So, there's a lot of different implications. So, you can think about, okay, so the living room becomes a bedroom, but then what are the implications of that? And so, you can't do it so much in a short, but in other media as well, you can really show the effects of each effect, and how one change, i.e. becoming a wheelchair user, will affect lots of different things, the living room and the making the tables the right height, and making sure there's space in all the rooms and all of this, and then how those affect things as well. There's just so many things that you might not think of. Yeah, it might be interesting just so that, again, I'm not sure how much you could go into it for a short, per se, but, something that I might recommend to other people is, okay, if you're writing a character, imagine that you have the same condition as them, and what changes would you have to make in your house in order to, and that just helps you to think about your character's perspective a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I that's actually an interesting, like I think that's very useful feedback, because I'm thinking it's something that maybe might be worthwhile. Like, like during that, like as people were saying, that kind of expositional sequence where Susan Storm's talking in the background, like maybe that would be the opportunity to show like how much things have changed for her. Like maybe she has to wake up in the living room instead of the bedroom, and and maybe she doesn't go to the bathroom because the hallways are too narrow. She has to wash up in the bed in the living room.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that might be a way to show, like these struggles.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Of course.
If you're going to keep that exposition news story, give her a reaction to it. Give her like a very strong reaction, because this is literally about her, and it in a sense tells us what she thinks about how others out there perceive her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I am thinking about cutting it down though, based on the feedback I'm getting from the group. I am thinking that it's maybe a little too much, in
Yeah,
terms of
and
exposition.
as we've said, it's quite exposition-y. There's a rule that says show don't tell. We should be seeing these things, not being told these things, and that applies to dialogue as well. And also, yeah, the lack of, oh, please, didn't mean to do that. The lack of reaction as well is something I think people have pointed out. I think it would be good to, see how she's interpreting this, how she's hearing it, because this is, like you say, still very new. She's crying and she looks at herself in the mirror. So and she's got PTSD. So she's hearing about what's happened, the trauma that she's been through, and she's not reacting. So yeah, that I would say that does definitely need to be changed, and to see
Yeah.
that reaction a lot more.
Sure. tying that in, I think Lasagna had a comment about her sobbing and some of these yeah, like maybe replacing some of that I've written, you know, like with reactions to what she's hearing. I think that what Lasagna mentioned, and you can chime in, Lasagna, and you know, like when she's waking up and is sobbing as she wakes up. I'm just wondering what might be more realistic in that scenario, because basically what, like, in my mind, she's you know, this is something that again has newly happened, and I was thinking that maybe she has phantom limb sensation, and she's not, like, even when she wakes up, it's kind of like rediscovering that she's lost her legs. In That's what I was thinking, at least, but maybe that's not realistic, and I'm just wondering how, you know, like how somebody, you know, in that situation might, like, what would be more realistic.
It makes sense. It's just that you told me that she came to like this strong resolve once she woke up, so I didn't imagine her like crying, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
it was just sort of like if she's made up her go out and do something, I got kind of surprised at her sort of crying twice or something. But if it's about like how she can feel what she is like, that she doesn't have her legs anymore, and like she felt them there for a second or something, it makes sense what you're thinking. It's just that I didn't realize, like, I guess I didn't really understand why for a minute there.
Okay, but it makes, like, I don't want to portray her as like being overly weepy or anything either. Like it's just that, you know, like in, you know, again, like in my mind, it's almost like when she wakes up from the dream, she's in this kind of no man's land, and is just, it's like a rediscovery of the, or yeah, you know, it's part of the
Yeah,
trauma that
it makes
she's,
sense.
yeah. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. But I'll
Um,
definitely work in some more about, like, reacting to what the newscasters say. I did feel it was very expositional too. Yeah.
Alright, thank you. William asks, is it strange that she is living alone at the stage of her recovery? Would motherly Rashka be staying there too?
Possibly, yes. Um, so one of the people that inspired, you know, me to write this character is somebody who intentionally, so it's somebody, like, I think I was talking about this story at our last session, about this Vietnamese lady, and one of her things was, after her accident, she actually intentionally kept her family away from her, you know, because she really needed to regain her independence. Like, it, for her, it was like the most important thing to be independent, and she didn't want her family doting over her. And this is real. Like I've written to this person, and, you know, like, her parents happened to live, like, you know, hundreds of miles away from her, and she wanted them to go back home and just live on her own and figure out how to do everything by herself. And so I'm kind of imagining that Ishana's, you know, got this similar type of determination as this real life person. So, you know, to address that question, I mean, this is why, you know, this is who inspired this character, and it was this level of extreme determination, that I wanted to capture. Does that make sense, or So in other words, like it wouldn't be because Raksha wouldn't want to stay. It would be because Ashana would be going, no, I want to, like I don't want you doting over me, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know how I could make that. Maybe there's a way to bring that out more in the script. But,
I'd say that feeling is really, really common. That is a huge people don't want to be a burden. They're fighting for their independence, fighting for their return to normalcy and such. And so that is completely understandable. That's completely relatable. And yeah, I think that's fine. I think the question though is whether to put that in a good light or a bad light. Is it a good push your family away to be independent, or is it a bad thing to refuse help when you need help? There is some balance and nuance to it, because I think this is something that like might be like internalized ableism, that yeah, where are the boundaries of where that kind of thinking is good and it pushes you more and is positive, versus that can also cause additional damage. And asking for help from people who love you is not a bad thing. There's two sides of it, and it all depends on whether you want to portray the pushing away of family as being a good thing or a bad thing. And it can be both. It can be, for this particular instance, it can be a good thing. And for this particular instance, it can be a bad thing.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, in the real life person, I and I think she even admits that she overdid, like she pushed her family away too much. It was, I mean, if I told you the story about what she actually did and made herself go through by pushing her family away, you'd think she's completely nuts. I mean, she literally starved herself to death almost, but like she couldn't move out of her bed, and she pushed everybody out and said, "Oh no, they'll come and take care of me. Just go home." And then she basically was like, basically completely bedridden for weeks because she couldn't get out of the bed, and it was absolutely crazy, and forced herself to walk when like she was actually opening up her stitches, and it's like absolutely nuts that what she did, and she almost killed herself by staying alone, and she admits it. So in this particular case, like this person, like like when I heard the story, I was like, wow, like that's just, it's completely nuts. But nothing is more important to this person than being independent, and like I understood that in getting to know, her story. I don't think that it was healthy, and I think she admits it, that today, that it wasn't really healthy, a healthy thing for her to do. So I think, when you say it's a good thing and a bad thing, you know, uh, at the same time, if she wasn't this determined person, she wouldn't have been able to. I don't think she'd be able to walk even today, because by forcing herself the way she did, um, like the doctors were saying, like your spine is too damaged, you're not going to be able to walk again, and but she did it. She through this force of will. So who's to say, like even like I can't I can't tell, like, whether like even now it's very ambiguous. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like this is the person, like I said, who I'm basing, at least partly basing the character on. And yes, completely over the top attitude about getting back out there and being independent, but at the same time achieving things that people with her particular disability, have not been able to do. Just through that sheer force of will, or at least not many have been able to do.
And I
So,
don't like ambiguity. I just kind of want to see it written that it
written,
is ambiguous, that some of her decisions and some of her pushing is good, and some of the things that she does is bad. I want to see the ambiguity on the page.
on the page. Yeah, yeah. That
That's the. I want to see it on the page.
that makes sense. Yeah, thanks, Willow. That is really great feedback. Yeah. Okay.
Alright, thank you, Willow. I think that's it for feedback. Unless anyone else has any comments.
The one thing I'm going to say is thanks to all of you for taking so much time to give me such amazing feedback. I really appreciate it.
Alright. Thanks for bringing it. Yeah, does anyone else have any questions? We'll open the floor back up to questions and any scripts. If no one has anything, then we will read one more thing, I think. Which is actually no. We'll take a break from reading for a bit. I want to show you a trailer. I'm gonna see if I can open it up. Give me a second. This is a bit of a. It's not really a trailer. It's a disabled filmmaker who's made a film about looking for someone with their body type. I won't say too much because otherwise I'll say everything that they're about to say. I'd actually got to meet them recently, and maybe we'll have them come into either our upcoming writers group at the end of the month, or maybe our workshop. And yeah, the film is called "Is Anybody Out There?" It's not out in the UK yet. They're still looking for people to distribute it at the moment. But I believe it was shown at Sundance. I think I'm right in saying that. And it was at a premiere in Greece recently. I'm just trying to open it up for you now. Let's see whether or not that worked. It did for a change. There we go. Are you able to hear this?
No.
No.
Oh no.
Oh.
Not aware.
Oh no. Okay. Well, that's a shame. Alright. How can I share this? Well, actually, I know. I'll use Discord's new activity feature. I think that will work.
On Zoom, there's like a share with sound button. I don't know how Discord works though.
Yeah, Discord doesn't have that, unfortunately. Instead, we will try.
No.
No.
Oh no.
Not aware.
Oh, I've got a bit of an echo. Nice to have you, so nice to have you here. I think I saw you on the YouTube earlier. How can I share this? Are you there, Sarah Peter? I use Discord's new activity feature.
Well, when watching the stream, can you pause it, please?
On Zoom, there's like a share with sound button. I don't know how Discord works though.
Yeah, Discord
Could you
I'm not sure
pause
if
the
the
stream?
here we go.
Thank
We had
you.
someone trying to watch.
That was someone watching the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I am going to hope that this will work. Is everyone able to see this now? There's an activity thing that's come up on the Discord.
Yes.
I've never used it before, so if it doesn't work, don't blame me. So if you come out of the stream, there's like a watch together thing.
It's not on my device.
Oh no.
I will just sit here.
Oh no. Okay. In that case, I won't play it this week. I will play it next time. Because I don't think it's gonna come out well on YouTube either. So I'll leave that for another time. Yeah, if you leave the activity and I'll share my screen again. Yeah, I should have looked into how to actually sort that out before I tried to do it. In that case, yeah, let's read some. There was a script we were going to read a couple of weeks ago, I think. Oh no, it was last week. It's called Pure. So I'm going to open it up, and we'll read. I think it's just 3 pages of that one. And again, I will ask for volunteers.
I can volunteer to read if.
Cool. I will give you a part in just a second once I figure out who I need to talk. Who's part? Who? I'm going to give a part to even. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. What? Okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? There we go. Sorry, I'm not sure why everyone got me to push to talk. Hopefully you're all able to speak again now. Yeah, sorry. Right. Let's try and read Pure. And I was going to try and find which pages to read. Oh, I wrote it down there. We're going to read pages 7 to 10. Again, I'm going to show it on my stream, so make sure you're all able to see that. And it looks like we have Charlie, Hannah, Cal, and a friend. We have a lot of parts actually. Alright, who wants to read? And I'll give you a part.
Okay.
Cool, Dan. I will give you. I will give you a couple parts. I will give you Charlie, and I'll give you friend 1.
What was the other one?
Friend 1.
Friend 1.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I will make a note of these, as Ray always does so beautifully. Charlie and friend 1. Who else would like to read?
I'll read.
Cool, thank you, Willow. I will give you Hannah. Let me see. And I will give you Cal. No, I won't. Friend 2. I'll give you friend 2. No, are you able to? I think everyone got made to push to talk for some reason. I'm not sure why. You might have to get into your Discord settings. So if you're there, try getting into Discord settings, video and voice, and then change it to voice activity. Okay. Who else would like a part to read? Iniska, are you free to read?
Sure, I'll read. I'll try.
Cool. Thank you. I will give you Cal. Iniska. And I'll give you Waiter as well.
Can you say that again?
Cal and Waiter.
Cal and the waiter.
Yeah.
Are you going? Are you gonna have the file on the screen or?
Yeah, it'll be on the screen.
Okay.
I'll show it there any second now. And
Can everyone hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Welcome back, Nick.
Yeah, I found it. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure why that suddenly happened, but there we go. Would you like to read, Nick?
Yes.
In that case, do you have any parts left? Oh, yes, we do. We would you like to narrate, redirection, or do you want that part?
I can narrate. Sure.
Sure, I will give you that then. You will take direction, and I will take Sonia. Oh, then. Let's get started then. Go on up to page 7. We're going to kick off on page 7 and read just a few pages just to finish us off today. We'll start from interior bar on the screen now. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, interior bar, night. Hannah and Cal sit at a table with 4 or 5 others, all also queer, of various orientations and genders. They're gathered to celebrate Sonia's birthday, according to the balloons tied to her chair. Hannah has a glass of red wine, Cal a cocktail. One friend, Charlie, points a beer at Hannah, opining.
But why are there 2 maids of honor? Like, just fucking choose one.
Well, it's me and her best friend.
I think she thought it would hurt your feelings.
It hurts my feelings that she is asking me to do it. I hate all this wedding shit. How long has your sister even been dating this guy?
18 months.
Getting straight married in Palm feels homophobic.
Insane.
Seriously, that's ours.
Dan, I think you're Charlie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize to talk to myself. Seriously, that's ours.
Straight people are
That's
just
my word is always shitting on lesbians.
Haven't
Love
you
to
guys
get
been
married.
together way longer?
For 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably. I probably want to have kids.
Where are we now? Sorry. Oh, yeah, okay, I see. Friend 2.
Get on that biological race to nowhere.
Nah, Eve wouldn't risk it. People might be more excited to see the baby than her.
Everyone laughs. Hannah seems pleased with herself. A waiter arrives.
We good to order? I just had one question. Are the Brussels sprouts vegan? Oh, I'm sorry. That's me again. I'm sorry. I'm spacing. They've got Worcestershire. They've got Worcestershire sauce. So I guess no. No. Well, what about the harvest salad? Could that be made vegan? Sure.
Al looks to Hannah, who nods slightly in confirmation. She's good.
Thick. Cheeseburger had grilled onions and avocado and fries on the side.
The waiter blinks a beat, confused by the pivot, but writes it down anyway. A few of Cal's friends seem interested by the exchange, but don't comment. The waiter looks to Hannah.
I'll do the harvest salad. Vegan, please. No feta or chicken. And dressing on the side.
Cal smiles encouragingly, and we understand that she was asking the questions for Hannah's benefit. It's both kind and infantilizing. Time cut. Later in the meal, everyone is on their second or third drink. Hannah's picking at her salad, listening to the others talk. She inspects each bite of food before putting it in her mouth. Cal talks around a huge mouthful of burger.
You have Tyler Larkin in pre-cal, right?
Regrettably, yes.
He didn't turn in his Hemingway essay, and when I asked why, he said he's got too much dread to take on Hemingway.
Everyone laughs.
He's not wrong. Hemingway sucks.
Hannah is carefully picking out pieces of kale that look bad to her, piling them on the side of her plate, inspects another forkful, and her face tightens with anxiety. She puts the fork down, pushes the salad away from her.
Gotta appreciate a guy with so little respect for subtlety that they blow their protagonist's dick off.
As the others laugh, Cal notices that Hannah has gone rigid.
Okay?
The kale is old. There was mold. Look.
Cal grimaces, soothing.
It's okay. You don't have to eat it.
Despite their low tones, the others have stopped talking, are looking at Hannah's tense posture. Cal nods to her, encouraging.
Sorry. I used to have I'm in recovery for orthorexia, but it's still hard for me to eat in restaurants sometimes.
My cousin had that. Fucking brutal. Never doing better.
Hannah smiles a little, grateful. A big step for her to share this publicly.
Alright, and we'll stop there. Thank you very much, everyone.
Huh.
Remember, I had to read the script that Nacho had to. I swear, for one, I forget what group, and I think my feedback is the same. It's telling us too much. The action is telling us too much, but this is a big step. You should show it being a big step instead of having the narration tell us it, you know? I think the narration is telling us a little too much unfilmable.
Good point.
Instead of saying they're all queer, that just, I don't know, it just feels like a waste of white space. It's nothing against the fact that they're queer. To me, it's just show it or something.
I think they
that's a weird
showed
thing
it,
to show.
so they didn't really have to say it.
Exactly. They're all like straight weddings, and they all agree. That's enough. Everyone can figure out from there that it's gay.
Yeah.
Or queer, or not straight, whatever the terminology is.
Same with the it's kindness infantilizing. But I did like this, and I did like the little like everyone's talking, and Hannah's just like, "Oh God, I fucking hate this food." It's just like this is grossing me out, kind of deal. I
Yeah.
did like that little detail in the background of them, or like they're in the background talking, and she's just like fucking with the food. I relate.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this bit in particular, that line. It's both kind and infantilizing, and I was going to ask what people
Yeah.
think about it. I wonder if anyone else has any comments
I
about
guess
that.
it is sort of infantilizing to be like, "It's okay, babe. It's okay." And like rubbing her back or like doing all this stuff that's just like soothing for her. It's just sort of like, it doesn't feel like Cal is treating her like an adult, but it would also be kind of shitty if Cal was just like, "Just eat your food" or something. So it's like a
Yeah.
weird balance that you have to take when you are trying to like soothe people or trying to like encourage them to eat food or something. Because it's like you kind of are acting like their parent when you do stuff like this, no matter what you do. It's sort of like you just, there's no winning. There's nothing you can really do. Either you leave them and have them process it themselves, or you go the parent route of like, eat your food, or it's okay, you don't have to.
I'm thinking like how you would actually show this in the dialogue instead of like writing it, because yeah, I definitely agree that like it's unfilmable like this, right? Like
They
saying
did
it.
show it through the dialogue, actually, with the whole like, it's okay, you don't have to sort of deal, and like actions like soothing her and whatnot.
But did they show her reaction? Did they show Hannah's reaction to that?
They show
Like that's what I'm just wondering, because like maybe it could be just shown in her reaction to what Cal is saying, like just showing that that maybe she's got mixed feelings, because like here there's this, like to show that she's processing it as kind and infantilizing. Maybe there's something that maybe she glances to her with like a hint of resentment at first, but then you know but then I don't know, like shows that she appreciates that it was a kind gesture, like, does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like where
Yeah,
it
that
can
makes sense. At the end, I think it shows that she's appreciative of it, but it
yeah,
doesn't show that she has mixed feelings about it.
yeah.
Either way, this is a complicated issue and it needs it's just a nuanced sort of deal, and I wouldn't know how to write this in a way that's if they weren't infantilizing her, I wouldn't know how to show that, because no matter what you do, either you're infantilizing her or you're just not saying anything at all, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, very good point. So, can somebody explain what orthorexia is? I've never heard of it. I'm sorry.
So I just looked up. It's an obsession with eating foods that one considers as healthy, or they avoid foods that they believe to be harmful in some way. So it's an eating disorder.
Isn't that very accurate to the way people with different conditions are treated?
Yeah,
Infantilized.
it is.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I find this very, Lasagna was saying, very nuanced. I really like this. I think the writing is really good. And I really enjoyed all of the little details that the writer in here. It's the way, this the different people are reacting to Hannah speaks to her condition previously and her coming up out of it. So it's it makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
yeah, I like this. It's
Me
really,
too.
I want to read it from the beginning again. I don't
think
know.
it's the beginning.
I'm not
It's
really good at.
It's near the beginning. It's we read pages
Could
7 to
you
10.
did you send it
I
in
can
the
send
chat?
it now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
I
might
don't
want to
know
read
how
this
you
myself.
guys do this. Managing to, it's really hard for me to keep up with to process what's going on in scripts, and you guys are really good at tracking. So when I'm listening to you guys give the feedback, I'm just like, oh, you guys are like deep, more quick maybe processing. I have to reread things a lot, which is why I've been in the same book for like 2 months now. I've had to go back, go back, go back. It's really frustrating.
I get that. Yeah, it happens. The only reason why I was able to keep up is through listening and also reading at the same time. I have to do both.
Who wrote
But
this?
Yeah, I feel like, to be honest, without when I'm not
Catherine
reading with
something.
people, I never actually read. Like Dave reads, and this are pretty much the only times I actually read scripts. So I know what you mean there. To a little bit of it, to some extent.
Who wrote these pages?
This is, I believe, from a blacklist.
Oh,
So what's the name of the author? Catherine Scatina. I probably pronounced that wrong. I think this is 2021. For
Weird.
Blackness then, or it might be 2020.
It's-
Oh no, apparently it's 2022. But yeah.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, looks like a good read. I wonder what a logline is. I can't see what the logline is now. But yeah. I think we're going to finish up soon. So yeah, I think we'll open back up to any last things anyone wants to say. You're more than welcome to.
I
I
guess.
want to go back and read the first part of Pure that we read because I got so like once the waiter came and Hannah was interacting with the food, that's where my interest peaked, and I thought that was decently well written. Before that, and all the conversation and people talking at the same time, and I was completely confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that also was really awkward, right?
It'd be very good if it were filmed, because like, yeah, people talk at the same time, shit happens. That's how conversation works. Like, they talk like they were actual people. It's just that in a script, it's sort of disorienting, I think.
Yeah.
I agree. It is
Yeah.
disorienting, but I did get it. You know, I'm looking at it and going, they must be talking on top of each other.
Oh, that's obvious. It just reads awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I'll tell you what, why don't we've got 14-ish minutes
I
left.
agree with
What else? Oh,
I agree with Lasagna about how this is the way people really talk, you know. So when you have to, I think, be able to see how it plays out with actors, you know. But I also agree with Dan about these over explaining things when it's obvious, and I see that so much in scripts, and it kind of messes up the read for me.
yeah.
And the thing about normal talking in scripts, though, is that you're not supposed to. Whenever you try and write something that sounds like a person having a real conversation, or you're not supposed to, because people say things like do repeat themselves, but you're not supposed to do that in a script, for instance.
I think talking over each other in a script is fine, because when it's like acted out, it's just sort of like, it doesn't take away, it doesn't go like, hey, you shouldn't make them talk all realistic like that. It's just sort of like, it's added depth to me, so I don't really mind it, and I prefer like picturing the finished product in my head, I guess.
Mhm.
Instead of like just being like, I'm reading words on a screen. I enjoy like actually picturing how it would look like in motion, and like with audio and all that stuff. In any case, the thing, yeah, about the back to the point of like over explaining, it would have really helped if like we didn't do that, because I want to see how we would feel about the infantilization if we weren't told it was infantilization. I would really like to see that, but sadly we were told.
Yep.
And yeah, I want to see how complicated everything would get, and if everyone would be like, what's that? What was that? Did we all feel weird about that? Was it just me? But no, we had to be told, and I'm just kind of upset about it now.
Yeah. I mean, it could be as simple as just adding, you know, Hannah's reaction, right? You know, like maybe she just, you know, like maybe she just feel like, you know, her face flushes in embarrassment. Like it could even just be something as simple as that.
Or she
You know,
turns her head away.
Or he glances at the door, for escape.
Yeah,
Try
that
to
would have been like
something. Just don't tell us this. This is infantilizing writing.
I'm feeling infantilized by this script.
Well, isn't that how you always feel when someone tells us something?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It was just a little disappointing, but I'm not like too angry, I guess. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. But yeah, in all, the script was really good. I enjoyed it, to be honest. Like the telling a little much, but the rest of it and all the details it incorporated, I really enjoyed. And yeah, infantilizing is a nuance, everyone. It all depends on like how you do it.
I will add this much detail. They could have cut back on a friend or two.
Oh, I like all the friends. They're having a party.
More easily.
They're having a party. Or something like that. So I guess there would be a lot of friends.
Yeah, but it does make it challenging to read, but I feel the same way as you do. Like like I could easily imagine this being a party, when they're talking on top of each other.
Yeah. I guess I guess like Willow said, I don't know if this was in response to what we were talking about, but it is a balance in a script or something. I don't know if that's what Willow was addressing, but it is like there's a certain balance when you do scripts and whatnot, and I guess like this sort of teetered on the line of being disorienting. But it's easy to picture, it's just hard to read.
Yeah, the balance was in regards to Dan talking about normal dialogue, and I bet that this this section, the scene, would sound great if we all rehearsed it and came back later and practiced it. But as a blind reading, it's really, really difficult and confusing.
Yeah.
This is something
that's important to read when you're trying to sell a script.
I do agree, and I guess that's one reason why.
Oh wait, didn't it? I don't know.
Just liked it.
Yeah. I think it's a good script. I'm definitely gonna read this on my own.
I don't know, the whole thing just puts me off. The topic
If it's about Hannah, I'm gonna read it.
I just need the execution. Just needs to be tightened.
Right. If this script is all about Hannah, I'm reading it. I like Hannah. So this is a new script I shall read. Thank you for your service, Joel. That's all I gotta say about the script. Good script. Something's kind of weird. Everyone's on mute. I'm scared. Goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
All right. Pretty cool. And any other comments or last words about anything that we've done today before we leave?
We
got a few minutes. I'm sorry, what was that?
How are you guys finding these scripts where the person, where there's a character that specifically has some type of disability?
I honestly don't know. This particular script was recommended by Nacho.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
I think actually this was sorry. This is why I have an alternate account. Sometimes I have need of it. It's Joe here using a different account. This one was actually recommended by Gray, I think. But Nacho is the one who shared it with Gray, I think. But yeah, I think to some extent all you can do is read and just figure out what scripts have the right disability that works, if that makes sense. And I think that's another part of the workshop, being able to share these scripts and these stories that we find, because there's no real library or source of information, as it were, for these kinds of things. So yeah.
I have one more thing to say about the script that I thought was interesting. The way that Hannah pushed away the food, kind of like an actual child would. It's kind of interesting because of with infantilization, once you start getting treated that way, you start kind of acting like it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because you're already getting treated that way, and you think, okay, I must be acting that way, and then you just actually act that way, and you're just kind of like, damn it, it's my fault. It's a complicated issue, I'd say, for sure.
Definitely a complicated issue, and kind of why I like seeing it.
Same.
Newt's script and such. These emotions and the things people are going through are very real and relatable.
I guess I was thinking of writing a script featuring infantilization because of what I deal with, and I was just frustrated with it. So I guess this encourages me more in a way. It can be written very well because I didn't know how I would go about it. So now I see it can be written super well, and I'm just okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna do it.
That's a wonderful idea, Lasagna. You go and you write what you want to write. You can do it. We believe
Thank
in you.
Willow. You're so sweet.
Infantilizing or whatever the line is.
Oh, yeah. I hope that joke came across as intended.
You're fine. It was funny.
But yeah, I guess if the script was a little bit more show and a lot less tell, it would be a lot better because it has good. I can see why someone might like it, but it's just, I don't know. I felt like the script didn't trust me to understand anything.
It's because it is a complicated issue, and it's could be easy to miss. So I understand why they did it. It's just that they didn't have to, and I would prefer if they let us
a little stronger if we didn't understand it right away.
Yeah, I'd rather we didn't understand and we were just something fell off instead. I'd rather that be the case, but I understand why they decided to go through with that because it is an issue that's easy to miss instead of being something that's clear, you know?
Yes.
I agree with you guys on that. I'd rather have a mystery or be what does that mean, rather than being spoon-fed.
That's how they have to go. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Dan.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you, Dan. Bye. Yeah.
I think maybe the script shows how well, first of all, no script is perfect, but that if your script is really, really good, people can overlook the failings and the negatives.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really liked it. I'm not too hung up about the negatives. It's a bit disappointing, but I guess it's other than that, the dialogue and the other action lines that don't tell us what's happening, what's supposed to be implied, are pretty good. So I don't know, just take out the parts that were this is infantilizing, and just put in parts that are showing you how it's infantilizing, and then everything's hunky-dory, very cool.
I agree. I think, yeah, it would be easy just to make a small adjustment to that script, and yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad it got picked up by the blacklist because it seems like a real nice thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
very nuanced issues going on here, and I'm gonna do my best to write about them one day. I enjoyed myself today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good. I'm very glad about that. I think we're going to wrap it up here. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Don't forget that next week, once again, we will be meeting to for a similar thing where we discuss fiction. So at next week's session on WordCamp, we will be talking all things media, so not just screenplays. I think we'll be looking at Willow's comic next week, which I'm super excited for. And lots of different things. So yeah, and hopefully also in the future we will be hosting some writers groups for disabled people, and that will be the last Tuesday of every month for disabled people. We'll remind you about that closer to the time. But yeah, thanks very, very much for coming, guys, and yeah, let me get you the link for the disability in fiction there. And yeah, just hit the interested button, then you will get notified when we start next week. And yeah, if there are any questions during the week about anything disability related, you can ask in disability chat. Is it disability chat? Yeah, I always forget what it's called. So yeah, and between me and Willow, you'll always get someone to reply to you. Yeah, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here next week.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Thank
Joel.
you, everyone. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.